On Woodworking with Wes, we have done several videos on how to build doors. Doors is a very basic part of being a good woodworker, almost as basic as being able to build a box, which is the most basic. Doors are important because you use them everywhere. In our building of our doors with solid wood panels, we have demonstrated a little space ball, and we've had a lot of questions and comments about space balls. So on today's video, we're going to deep dive and show you all of the little nuances and talk about space balls, what they do, how they help you build a better door, and where you can get them. Just remember, these little space balls make a big difference in how you build doors. Let's get started. This is a door that we had done previously for a video, and we used space balls with a solid wood panel. So let's cut it open and see how we used our space balls and show you how they help build a better door. With our door cut, you can see the panel here. This is the rail, and here is our little space ball, creating the space between the bottom of our stile and rail trench, the groove, and the panel that fits in it. Let's take this completely apart and let's talk about this. Let's start off with some basic door construction. Stiles are the parts that go top to bottom, rails go in between, and they go together with an interlocking joint. You can see how a tongue on the end of your rail stock goes into the groove on your stile stock. Let's turn it around like this and show you how that looks from the inside. And this trench, this groove right here, creates the place where the panel is held. Let's set our panel back in there. And our panel is held just like that. Now, when it comes to a solid wood panel, wood expands and contracts with heat and humidity. Solid wood expands mostly to the width of the grain, not so much on the length of the grain or the thickness of the grain, but mostly on the width of the grain. However, when we put the door together, if we make the panel the full size of the space allowed by the grooves, as it would expand, it would push that door apart and ruin the door. If we glued the panel in, as the panel would shrink, it would split and crack along the grain, and it would also ruin the door. So when you make a stile and rail set with a solid panel, even without a solid panel, you don't glue in your panel. You glue your stile and rail together, and your panel floats. And the little space balls that we just talked about go in the bottom of our groove like this. When you clamp the door together, they compress. Let's push that in there just like that. So when you put the door together, they compress, and that allows for the door panel to expand and contract with heat and humidity because it's free floating. But the space balls help it keep centered. Especially on a door like this where it's a flat panel and V-groove, it wouldn't make any difference if it was offside a little bit. But on a raised panel door where you have a profile on both sides, you want those profiles to remain even all the way around your door. The way you accomplish that is you take the space that is allowed by your stile and rail and you subtract 1/4 of an inch on the width and the length. So let's just do some math. Let's say your door is 12 inches wide and you have a 3-inch stile and rail. 3-inch stile and rail would create a 6-inch opening because you have 12 inches minus 3 and 3, 6-inch opening. And you add the depth of your slot that is cut by your stile and rail. These are 3/8 of an inch. So 6 inches plus 3/8 plus 3/8 would be 6 3/4. Then you subtract your 1/4 of an inch that allows for your space balls. Now, The space ball itself, let's get that space ball back out here. Let's look at it a little closer. This little ball is actually 1/4 of an inch in diameter. And so is the width of your groove. And so it fits down in that groove real well. But your panel, if you cut your panel only 1/4 of an inch less, that only allows 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And so this little ball compresses. And as your door expands and contracts, that compression helps hold your panel perfectly centered in your stile and rail. And that compression is what helps make your door a better door, because it just holds your panel centered. Let's talk about the space ball itself. There are many different kinds. I looked at Amazon. Amazon has 2 or 3 different kinds. They have a kind that is just a solid rubber ball that is black and in white also. This little space ball has little divots on it and is out of a different colored rubber. They're all rubber. In the past, using the black rubber ones, I've had a little bleed through into my panel. And I don't know whether it was my personal way I'd put it together or whether that is indicative of those little black ones. But I found these and I like them better. We're going to provide you a link to both the Amazon space balls and to a source where you can get these little kinds of space balls to use. Let's go ahead now and let's show you how I would put the space balls as I was assembling a door. I would put some across the rail. I would put some across the stile. Now, like I say, we have made some videos on putting doors together. I would invite you to go back. This door also is one of them, but there's also a door on raised panel doors that has a solid panel. I want you to go back and review those videos. We're going to provide a link to those also. And you'll see how we use the space ball to make a better door. Okay, now we put that in there and we compress that door, and you can see how that holds that space. That creates that space that allows the panel to expand and contract. As the door is clamped together, it makes a nice solid door. Also keeps your panel from rattling. It really makes a better door. This little addition to your door building will make you a better door builder. And really, that's what we all strive for when we're doing our woodwork, is to do the very best. Hey, I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and I hope you've learned how this little addition makes a big difference in the ability to build great doors. Gonna see you next time on Woodworking with Wes.